Okay, Brittany. First of all, my name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital, and I'm so excited for our first virtual business challenge. It's a little different than what we did last year for those that participated. But again, for housekeeping, please mute if you're not speaking. And after Pam does the welcome and so forth, I want to give each of you all an opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us what you're doing before we get into the challenge. But before I turn it over to Pam, does anybody have any technical issues or have any questions? I ask you that after I've already asked you to mute.
Yes, this is Etheloma Perkins, and I don't know if it's necessary for you guys to see me. I can see you.
We can see you. We see you now.
You can?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
All right, so then that, thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
You're doing welcome. Good then.
Ma'am?
You're doing good. Thank you. So we'll get this going. Thanks and welcome again to the session. If you have any questions, send us a note in chat, or if you have any questions, you can put those in the Q&A section as we get going. But I am going to turn it over to our county sponsor and host, Pam Warden. And Pam, you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, I've got the floor, huh? Well, I'd like to thank everyone. Thank you, Sandy, for taking us on again. The county this is the second time we've done this, thanks to Sandy. She came to us with the idea. She had done the challenge in several other counties, and we thought it would be a great idea for some of the people in the county that wanted to start a business. Like I said, last year was the first year. We had about 11 people start out. We ended up with about eight or nine at the end there, and this is a great resource for entrepreneurs. I think we've stayed, Margie and Sandy and I have stayed in touch with just about everyone that was participated last year, and it's just a good resource for you to keep and to have contact with us so we can stay in touch with you and let you know if things are upcoming and classes or grants or whatever you may need. We do this to support small business, and it's not just about the award money, which is what I try to I told the IDA as well. It's for the resources and the knowledge that you will gain, and so you will be successful in your business. And that's what each of us want and hope is for the best, for everyone to succeed. So that's our main goal, and we're excited about it. We had a blast last year, and I think we will virtually this year too. So with Sandy and her superpowers, I'm sure she'll pull some tricks out for us. So thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
But I think Sandy's going to be the first one to speak, and she's going to go over the guidelines for the challenge. And if you all have any questions, just type in the question, and we'll try to answer them.
And on your screen, you should see the list of sponsors. And I will say that to one of the partners that I want to bring attention to is the Thompson Charitable Foundation. Without their assistance, I don't think we could be able to do this. And of course, we could definitely not do it without the county and town's involvement. So one more time, is Amanda Hoops on? Okay. I don't see her. Okay, everyone should have gotten the guidelines, and I hope you reviewed it before you applied to the session. It's very important. If you have not signed those guidelines and checked the boxes and initialized those and returned those, please do so. We need that, or actually Pam needs that for the files. As part of that, we want to make sure everyone understands each aspect of the guidelines, so that there's no question during or after it's over with, and it's time to, hopefully, if you've won, that you are going to be asking for the award money. So again, if you have questions, speak up or put it in the Q&A and the chat feature, and I will get to it. First of all,
Sandy.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me just a minute. I just got a text from Amanda Hoops, and she said she's in the Zoom meeting, and she's not sure why we can't see her, but she is on the call.
Is she on the phone? I see someone on the phone, but that's the only person I can see.
She's on the phone. She didn't dial in, so let me tell her to dial in on the
Well,
Zoom, okay?
I just asked, she should be able to unmute hers. I did it on my end.
Okay.
Sorry, folks.
Okay, we'll go. Pardon me?
I said, sorry, folks. Amanda?
Hey, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hi,
Speaking,
Amanda.
I am here. Hi.
go ahead, Pam.
Do you guys call in through on my laptop?
I'll do it.
However you want to do it, Amanda. We've got quite a few participants, and we can go ahead and proceed if you want to, and you can stay on the phone. Would you prefer dialing in on Zoom?
This is fine with me. I didn't know if there was anything I needed to see or not.
Okay, well, Sandy was just getting ready. This is Pam Morton, by the way. Sandy was getting ready to go over the guidelines for the challenge, but we would like for you to say a few things first. Amanda Hoops, just for everyone that doesn't know, she is the director of the Tazewell Today, and she's had a big hand in a lot of everything that's going on in Tazewell. She's doing a great job, and I'll let her tell you everything that's going on because she's one busy lady and she's doing some great things. So, Amanda, if you want to jump in there and tell them how you're getting all this stuff done, we'd appreciate it.
Oh, awesome, Pam. Thank you so much for those kind words.
You're welcome.
So I am the executive director of Tazewell Today, and that is our community development nonprofit. We're a registered 501c3. I coordinate all of the events in the town of Tazewell. I do grant writing for the town, anything community development related, a little bit of economic development, promoting new businesses and that kind of thing. We recently received the Virginia Main Street designation in Tazewell, and although that sounds a little vague, it's actually quite a big deal. So a big chunk of my time goes to promoting Main Street and promoting new businesses on Main Street. I have a small business myself on Main Street, actually. It's Bliss Boutique, used to be Bliss on Main. And I've been in business for about 3 years there, going on 4. And somehow, miraculously, have been thriving throughout COVID, thank goodness, because I moved to an online platform. So that's been really important for my business. I work hand in hand with the town of Tazewell. We are not the town of Tazewell, but we're kind of, I don't want to say related, but we can use town resources, and we get a lot of support from the town of Tazewell. So we have a very progressive town council here in Tazewell and a very progressive town manager, and that has allowed us to grow and do creative and fun things. And again, even throughout COVID, we've been able to be creative and come up with socially distant ideas and businesses to keep, events to keep people engaged and entertained, also while staying safe and 6 feet apart. So that's me, and that's what I do. And yes, I am super busy, but I love it, and I don't think I could stand to not be so busy, honestly.
Tell you what, Amanda, why don't you stay on for a moment? And one of the things I wanted to do and I failed to do is to allow all the competitors, since this is our first time, not only see each other, but tell us about what your plans are. Are you a startup? Are you existing? And what you're doing. So I'm going to go in the way that they're showing up on my screen because I don't know of another way to do it. So Bill, do you want to tell folks what you're doing? If you can get that on mute working. You muted yourself good. There you go.
All right. Yeah, I'm Bill Haver. I have a company called Appalachian Treasures. It's in Bluefield, Virginia. I don't really know if I'm existing yet. We are selling a little bit of stuff on Marketplace and locally, but We're not really open to the public just yet. We're getting very close. Our main goal was to be an antique mall, but not just with antiques. We want to do local crafts and any kind of handmade goods or local made goods and things like that. Right now, we've got two people that are doing, one person is doing antiques, one person is doing some used furniture and repurposed furniture. We got one lady that has some jewelry, handmade jewelry in the store. But that's what we want to be, is just have vendor booth available to people that have local products that they need a place to sell. And I'm kind of the ramrod behind it, but it's really supposed to be my daughter's business. She is actually over there with a customer now that's picking up a piece of furniture, so she may be joining us here a little later. So
Great.
that's what we do.
Excellent. And Bill participated last year, so if you have any questions of how hateful Pam could be to deal with after this, let's talk to Bill.
Yeah.
Next on my screen, Mr. Campbell, Donald Campbell.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes, barely.
Okay. So my name is Donald Campbell. I don't have a business. I'm looking for a startup. It's going to be called Country Seed Store. It's mainly going to be an online seed company selling flower seeds, vegetable seeds, herb seeds. And later on, we would like to branch into the world of bulbs. So mainly we're just gonna be an online seed company. So
Super. Okay, next on my screen is Amanda Ellswick.
All right, can you hear me?
I sure can.
All right, so I'm Amanda Ellswick. I own the Classy Closet in Richlands. This is our 7th year of business, so of course it's been an obstacle of a year. We've had to increase our online presence, so that's what I'm hoping to accomplish here is, I guess, increase that and our inventory and the customers that we can reach. We also have a location at the Pinnacle inside of the Mercantile. We rent a booth from them, and then we're opening at Turkey Creek as well. So we're excited for those.
Good to have you.
Thanks.
Deborah Ratliff, can you share with folks what you're planning on doing?
Yes, I am Deborah Ratliff with Foxtail Orchards Incorporated on Back of the Dragon. We have rental cabins. We have 2 operating at the present time and in the process of building the 3rd. It's under construction. We recently got our paving done. We have a laundry building on site now, and we are just looking to continue to grow. And thank you for this opportunity.
My pleasure. Next on my screen, and he went away, was Blake Gray.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm using my iPhone. So I'm using my iPhone, so I have like 4 different screens.
You're making my Brady Bunch screen move around.
My apologies. So sorry, I had to unmute myself. So I am Blake, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Bobby to unmute as well because she might want to chime in there. So I am the owner and proprietor of Coal Town Taps in Richlands, Virginia. We are a full-service restaurant that opened in June of this year, and it has been a very interesting time to open a restaurant. Let me tell you guys that. So when I started that plan over 1.5 years ago, I, much like everybody else, was not anticipating COVID, but it's been one of those fun struggles that's only going to make us better as COVID starts to disappear. We are a full-service restaurant, like I said, but we branded ourselves as a community collaborative house, and we partner with a lot of local nonprofits. Since we have opened, we have raised approximately $25,000 to put back in the hands of the people who need it locally in Richlands. We have a fundraiser going on right now to raise funds for women's health initiatives, and we are pushing for a $10,000 donation to a nonprofit called Souls for Service that we're working with. Going back to COVID, I really wanted to come back to the business challenge this year. One thing that we found is that we are having to do a lot more outdoor dining than we anticipated. And then the main obstacle that we found with that is you can't really compete with Mother Nature. So we're going to have to build onto our building to put a really nice patio pergola type structure out to prevent the rain from ruining that seating, so we can still make that a monetary revenue stream.
Great. Ms. Perkins, you're next on my screen. Welcome. There you go.
Thank you. My name is Etheloma Renee Perkins. Everyone calls me Renee. It's a lot easier than trying to pronounce my first name. I am the owner of the Red Roof Home here in Tazewell, but I'm taking part in this business challenge for a startup. I plan to open a test center somewhere here in Tazewell County. I'm not exactly sure where the location will be yet. But the test center is something that I felt like we have needed for a very long time. There's hundreds of professions that require some type of testing, whether it's for a promotion on your job or for licensure reasons. But at any rate, we need a test center here in Tazewell, and that's what I'm participating for.
Well, glad you could join us.
Startup. Thank you.
Melissa, you're next on my Brady Bunch screen.
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can.
I'm the owner of Moonlit Jewels. I just opened September 1st. I actually had to close down today and tomorrow because I tested positive for the flu today. But I am a paparazzi consultant, so I do, I'm sorry, I'm not used to public speaking at all.
It's okay, that's okay.
Even though I do Facebook Lives like crazy, this is unusual for me. I sell jewelry mainly for anybody that wants to do like $5 jewelry. I market it as affordable jewelry for a fashion. I'm sorry, I just totally went blank.
How long have you been in, is this a startup or you've been in business for a while? You said you've been on Facebook Live plenty.
I actually started doing this at home January of 19, but it became an LLC in August.
Okay. Well, glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Mr. Compton, you're up next on the wheel.
Hey guys, my name's Brandon Compton. I don't currently live in Richlands, so I commute a lot back and forth between there and Mooresville. And in that commute, it's kind of what sparked my interest in kind of having an entrepreneurial type mind. I think it's something I probably had for a while, but it's really grown in the last year, maybe 2 years, especially with having some conversations with Blake. But my goal and what I hope to accomplish is to bring a coffee chain to the Appalachian Mountains. Southern Appalachia. Through research, I think there's a good opportunity to have some market success there. So, and ultimately, I'm glad to be a part of this to learn and to apply my values and thoughts into the business world and see if they're valid or not, or if I'm barking up the wrong tree. But essentially what turns me on to this kind of stuff is just, you get paid through your effort, not your time. And I think that's a big part of where my mind's at right now. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really early on in the stages of all this. So I'm excited to hear about your guys' ideas and processes.
That's why we're doing this. Okay, let's see. Is Colson Dash on? I'm not seeing you on my screen, but that doesn't mean that you're not on. There you go, John. Is it John or Colson?
I go by Colson. It's my middle name.
Okay.
When I filled it out, I filled it under John Dash. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. You're just keeping me hopping.
Keep you on your toes. Yeah, what I have is you can say it's a startup, but I've been doing it for a while. I build custom furniture, ranging from tables, desks, chairs, bookshelves, things like that. And I wanted to expand it. I'm also building custom signs, custom crafts, things like that. And what I'm wanting to expand it to is more, I want to expand it to a mobile thing. I want to go to more locations, build a clients, build a market, expose myself a lot more on Facebook, get out there a lot more, and then I want to open a store is my plan. That's what I want to do. I open a store, even have a where you can even come build your own crafts. That's another way I want to do. But my plan is right now is to go mobile, get out there more, and build my clientele up is my plan.
Super. Okay, is Allison Sparks on with us? Are you there? I thought I saw you online. Okay, she must have dropped off. Okay, how about Lindsay Gray?
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Sorry, I had to actually drive somewhere. Hi guys, my name is Lindsay. I am a resident of Tazewell County. I am wanting to, well, from the start, since I was probably like 10 years old, my dad and I wanted to start up a bakery. We think in the town of Tazewell that would kind of be something that would be very vibrant. There's not really fresh baked goods that you can just run down the street and go get before work, or go have something to eat as a snack in between lunch break and going back, or something super cute, something super fun. And our vision, which my dad and I kind of wanted to start it up, but I'm doing the classes right now. We have an envision to kind of make it a place where people can say that they feel like they just had, their grandmother's bread, something that kind of reminds them of a homey feeling, a sit-down area where they can enjoy nothing that's really from the store, but something that had hard work put into it, fresh things that they can buy and take home to their family, things like that. We kind of think in the town of Tazewell, maybe looking at a location that I am actually talking to some people about on Main Street, maybe renting out a building that is actually being purchased as we speak. So just kind of have the flow of that traffic coming in and out, but mainly just a place where people can go to enjoy some fresh baked goods that you can't get unless you go, an arm and a leg to go buy it. So that's kind of like what I'm shooting for. It's a startup business. I've never done anything like this before, but it's something that I feel like would be a very good experience, well learning, build for the community, and bring more people in to Tazewell. As they pass through, they can say, wow, like that bakery was awesome. So just kind of support other local businesses as I run, if I get to do that, things like that. So that's kind of like what I'm shooting for.
And if you need anyone for quality control, I'm sure anyone on the and the challenge would be happy to sample breads and sweets. I am a chocoholic. I admit my problem, so just a hint on that. But I'm glad you could join us, and be safe out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, it's something that my dad and I I've been good at baking since I was a kid, so I just kind of was like, why not put that into perspective and use my skills to kind of bring joy to other people, if that makes sense. So
that is entrepreneurship 101, is finding what people want and catering to them, and then of course charge them. One more time, I'm going to see if Allison Sparks, are you with us? I will take that as a no. So
Hey, Sandy.
Yes, ma'am.
I just thought Amanda may have something that since Lindsay is looking for something in Tazewell, I know she's looking at a building. Amanda, you may be good reference for her to find out if there's any buildings available. I know becoming less and less available, but that might be a good connection for her since she's looking. So, Amanda, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and actually know quite a few of you guys. I'm so excited to hear these familiar names, and I actually know Lindsay a little bit. And I had no idea you were a baker. That's exciting. So I would love to talk to you about some available spaces on Main Street. We don't have many, but it sounds like you're in communication with someone who's got a line on purchasing a building, which is exciting. So if I can be of any assistance at all with you, and anyone who, especially Main Street, is looking to open a business in Main Street Council, please reach out to me.
Great. Okay. Well, I'm excited, and I'm sure my partners are, that the diversity and what folks are doing. So I'm anxious to see how we all grow over the next 6 weeks. So let me continue where I was at. Can you see my screen? And again, I hope everyone carefully looked at those guidelines, but I want to quickly go over those before we turn it over to Margie. And if you have questions for me or for Pam regarding the guidelines, please let me know. Just a quick about who Virginia Community Capital is and what I do all day. If you're not familiar with us, we're a community development financial institution focused on creating jobs, energizing places, and to promote Virginians. We actually got started thanks to, at the time, Governor Mark Warner, who saw a gap in financing in Virginia and was able to find our initial investment of $15 million in 2006. And we focus on impact, which is the team that I work in, lending and investments. We do a lot of small business lending. However, I will say that we don't typically do anything under $150,000, but we have partners in the region that does microfinancing if you should need that. And as we go forward over the weeks, you're going to learn more about that. But we have made an impact over that investment with about $1.5 billion in Virginia communities as a result of that investment. As I say, we do lending, and this is a quick, we can do everything from real estate acquisition to construction. We also do some new market tax credits and historical tax credits, gap financing, and some equipment lending. But if you, in a couple of weeks, you're going to hear more about our lending. We also do investing for folks that are wanting to, you may have some money that you want to invest either in CDs or money markets. And I will say that typically right now, our money market rates are going a little higher than what typical banks are. And one of the things that we offer is your money is going to be invested back into Virginia communities. And that's very important because we're not a multi-state organization, and we're doing a lot in Southwest Virginia to help the economy. And we do advisory services, which I do a lot of. I've been in economic and community development for almost 30 years. I started in kindergarten. And if I don't know the answer, I know people to call. But if there's anything that you have a question or you have a roadblock, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I do a lot of workshops. I do one-on-one counseling. We don't even have to meet one-on-one. We can do this online or by phone, but if there's anything that I can help you with, don't hesitate. Just a quick note again about our sponsors. Thanks to the Thompson Charitable Foundation, they did provide funding for a 3-year project for Tazewell County. It's actually Tazewell and Buchanan counties. So that's the areas that they make investments in. And it's part of that is to organize and present these business challenges, which is we're doing tonight. So let's get into the guidelines. I hope you've got your pencil and your guidelines and you're ready to go over. Again, if you have not already sent in your signed guidelines and that they're initialized on the question areas or at each item, please do so and return those to me, and I will, or to Pam Warden or Margie, and we'll make sure we have that in the file, but we really need those from you. Of course, you cannot participate in the challenge unless you're going to be putting your for-profit business physically in Tazewell County or any of the towns of Bluefield, Cedar Bluff, Pocahontas, Richlands, and Tazewell. You must create a minimum of one full-time job. For those of you who are a startup business, when you're starting your business, you are considered the full-time job. If you are an existing business that's been in business for over a year, you will have to employ an additional employee or multiple employees part-time to get the 32 hours, and we go by the federal guidelines for what the Small Business Administration looks at for the minimum hours. We are not just giving you the check if you should win. These are reimbursable expenses that when you go to Pam and ask for a drawdown, she will need proof of payment, but also we want to see a record of your license and any taxes to make sure that you have started your business. And one of the things we want to protect, a number of years ago, a community, not Tazewell County, it was on up to 81. They did a business challenge and they had no checks and balances. And the person that won the challenge took that public money and bought a boat and moved to Tennessee. So we're not going to be allowing that to happen in our organization or our program. One of the things too, we want to make sure that if you're an existing business and you are, perhaps in some cases we had folks to hire a family member, a spouse, and you want to qualify them as a full-time job, you have to show proof that you have counted those on your IRS 940 or 941 tax returns, employment report that is sent to the IRS. So that's critical. Again, this is for existing businesses that this applies to. Now, how the challenging scoring happens, it's based, number one, primarily on your business plan. At the end of this session, and you saw the list of classes, in November, you will be submitting your business plan that will be scored by judges outside of Tazewell County. There's a couple that's even outside the state of Virginia. We want to make sure, make every effort to make sure this is fair to everyone. You also, on the last night, session 6, you will be pitching your business idea. So tonight you sort of pitched your business and did a trial when you presented and told us about what your business is. So you started that. We also want to make sure that you've attended all the sessions. That's critical. We've actually lost a couple of the folks that applied because they could not make the attendance, and that's, a critical part. If you are in a partnership and you find that you're not going to be able to attend one of the sessions prior to the session starting, if you could let Margie, Pam, or myself know that someone will be sitting in for you, that would be good, that we can make sure that you are at least receiving the information, and hopefully they're sharing that with you. Again, attendance is mandatory. It's 6 to 8 every Thursday evening for the next 6 weeks. Of course, you have to have a computer, and hopefully you're going to be able to view the session and that we know that you're on board. The reason we wanted a computer with a camera is to make sure that you are on the session, that you just didn't start it, to make sure that this is all new to us to do this virtually, but we're wanting to be fair to everyone. So we want to make sure that you are online with us. If there's an event that happens, either a technology happens on your system or your cable company, internet provider fails, please let us know as soon as possible that what's happened, so that we can know that you're not going to be marked tardy or not attending. Again, you're going to be granted one excused absence as long as you have someone else to attend for you, and let the executive team is Pam Warden, Margie Douglas with the Southwest Virginia Community College SBDC office, who will be talking right after me, and myself, to let us know. One other thing, if you're 15 minutes late connecting on the video, we will automatically count you as being tardy and late. And again, we've done this because in previous sessions, I'm not saying that it's happened in the Tazewell session last year, but we did have people coming in 30 minutes or an hour late, and it's not fair to you all that are abiding by the guidelines to allow someone to get out of that. But if you could just let us know if something happens and what the circumstances are, that would be good. Again, from a technology standpoint, since this is our first virtual challenge, in the event there is a local or nationwide cut in the line, we will schedule or delay and postpone the session for another date. And what we will do is announce the makeup session by email and by the Tazewell County Challenge Facebook page. The prizes are for this first place startup, there's $5,000, second place $1,500, and third place $500. The same with existing businesses. It's $5,000 for first place, $1,500 for second place, and $500 for third place. We also have 2 awards. One is for the best business pitch, which you will be pitching again on session 6 to a group of judges who will score your pitches, and I'll show you in a moment example of what that score sheet looks like. And also you will be judged, of course, by your business plan, and who receives the highest score will win that additional money. We do not share your ideas and what your plans are with others, and we are very protective of your business plans. When you send those, we ask the judges not to share, and that's the only people that will see it. I never open the files. Pam never opens the files. We just send those, put those in a folder, and send those directly on to the judges and who they may be. Disbursements, if you should win and you are moving forward on your plans and you've made purchased that item or whatever investment that you said in your business plan and pitch, you would need to give Pam at least 2 weeks notice that you need the drawdown. And that's out of respect for her because she's got a lot on her plate. And also we want to make sure throughout this session that you are receiving the mentoring support that you need. So please let us know when you are meeting with any of the mentors. And after tonight's session, I'm going to send you a list of mentors for this program and how to contact them. The definition of a startup is defined by any enterprise that has been in operation for 1 year or less. The length of time that the business is determined by the date the business started or had its first sale. Bill, you may want to look at this depending on how you want to if you still want to go as a startup or our existing business, you can look at that. If there's a question on the length of time or your what you say you're doing, the executive committee will make that determination to find out, to figure out how the participant is based on what information you provide us of when you started your business. Again, reimbursements are made only for business expenses that it's outlined in your pitch and business plans. The reason we do that is because we've had folks that in the middle or at the end, before they start the drawdown, they want to change directions and do something totally different, which means they're doing something that they were not judged on or scored on. And again, it's not fair to the other competitors. So if that should happen and you were a winner or second or third place, that award will go to the next highest winner. Each grant will provide up to 12 months of reimbursable expenses upon the presentation of those receipts that you give to Pam. The Tazewell County Economic Development Office is the physical agent for this program. And I'm sorry, my robot vacuum cleaner has decided tonight to come, so if you hear that, I apologize. Existing business winners, the final 2,500 drawdown will not be dispersed until we receive proof that you have created that full-time job, and it's not just for 1 month. We want to see multiple months that that's being done. So the last reimbursement will not happen until we get proof. And if you get it within the first 6 months, we might not do the final drawdown until many months later. Of course, if the business is located in Tazewell County or the towns, the business must have a storefront in a zone for business location. And we do that because we feel like it's not fair for folks that have that are working out of their home and they don't have the expense. The whole reason we're doing this is to help our downtowns and our communities thrive. So that's why we have the zone for business location. Now, here's an example of the business plan score sheets. Judges, again, will be professionals. They will not be from Tazewell County. They are going to look at all components and key parts of your business plan, from everything about what you put in your executive summary, the description of your product, the management team, if you've done any market analysis to determine why and there's a need in your community for this program or for your business. A marketing plan is very important, and the timeline that you're going to do this, and of course financials and etc. What I will do, and I'm sure Margie has sample business plans. If you've never done one before, we can send those to you, some templates that you can use. But that's a very key component about the judging for this, is having your business plan and having it spelled out to where someone, this is the same thing you would do if you were coming to Virginia Community Capital or any bank. They want to make sure that you have a business that is, there's an identified need, you have the adequate capital and management experience or plans to do it, and that it's something that can make money for you. And then finally, here is the scorecard for the business plan pitch night and what you're judged on. Basically, there's only 5 things they look at. Basically, is your business concept, that you stated it clearly. You have a proven business niche for the county and the surrounding area. The likelihood of that plan to be successful. It's very helpful if you provide visual aids. We've had people that are doing restaurants provide samples because when you're talking to judges, those visuals help them understand better about your plans. And if you want to do a PowerPoint, that's up to you. And then finally, if your business pitch was delivered and within the time limit, you have 8 minutes to pitch it. And then we will give 2 to 3 minutes for the judges to ask questions for you. Again, this is going to be our first time doing this virtually. And so we'll all have to be patient, but I know it's been done before and it's being done in other communities. So I have every faith that everything will go smooth. This is my contact information if you need to reach me, and you've got it on all the tons of emails that you've been receiving from me. So does anybody have any questions or heartburn while I turn off my robot?
Hey, Sandy, this is Pam.
Yes.
I do have one question. I just noticed when you said something about they have to have a storefront, I was thinking about Mr. Colson Dash that said that he was trying to get a mobile unit for his furniture. So
we have allowed that at other challenges because that, you know, like a mobile food truck, or I had a company that did the Buchanan Challenge this spring, and he was doing a mobile blasting, so that was allowed.
Okay, well, I just kind of wanted to clear that up for him. I didn't want him thinking that he wouldn't be eligible since he didn't have a storefront.
Also, just so you know, and I don't know, Sandy, what they would do about this, but I know maybe a couple said something about starting online presence. With a lot of those platforms, your web page is your storefront. That's what they're actually called. So I just ask that be, you know, maybe they can take it and put that under consideration so that those startups can also qualify.
Good call, Brittany. Thank you.
Thank you.
I see you'll have to. Sure.
So then you're saying no home businesses though, even though you're zoned for that. If you're zoned for a home business, would you qualify?
I'm going to defer to Pam since it's the county and the IDA is putting the majority of the money into the awards.
Right.
Okay, we haven't really discussed that at this point, but I think with the situation like it is with COVID and everything, I think we would seriously have to take a look at that and consider that. Just like Brittany just said, their website could be their storefront. I mean, I just thought we needed to discuss that too, but I think it would be something that the IDA would certainly approve.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Have I left anybody bewildered? Okay, well, you don't have to stop the questions now. If you have any additional ones, just let me know. You know how to reach me, email, what have you, and that's what we're here. We want you to feel comfortable at any time to ask any questions. So I am going to turn it over to my pal at the Small Business Development Center at Southwest, Margie Douglas, and let you take it over.
Thank you, Sandy. I apologize in advance for sounding like there's frogs in the room, but I've had a little bit of a issue with sinus infection. I'd like to first off introduce you to one of our new counselors at Southwest Virginia Community College. She specializes in marketing and does a wonderful job. So it now is a great time to get her services. She is top notch, but she also, we don't charge anything. So it's a really good deal for everybody. So this is who we serve, is the 4 counties of Buchanan, Russell, Tazewell, and Dickinson. So I'm a Tazewell girl, or Tazewell native, and it's always a pleasure to be here and be able to talk to folks about the services that are available and the help, the assistance that's available for small businesses. Okay, Brittany, are you going to do the slides for me? So we provide the small business. You probably haven't heard a lot about SBDC unless you've used us. And I see that there are a few of the clients that we have online, and I'm thrilled to see you guys. But the services that we provide is business counseling, training, business education opportunities, and resources that are at little or no cost at all. So our services are free and confidential. However, you are required to register with the Small Business Development Center. So we can certainly send a link to you if you have not registered. If you haven't worked with us in about a year, then you may need to re-register. So if you'll keep going. All right, so in 2019, the Southwest Virginia Community College SBDC assisted over 100 businesses, and they invested over $2 million, and it was into our regional economy. So it really benefited our region. The services that we provide, and I'm not saying that we know all the things that you need to know about this, but we have a network of 28 locations across the Commonwealth of Virginia. We meet every week and we talk about all of the issues that are going on. Until COVID-19, I don't think that we met, maybe 4 times a year in person. But after COVID, we've gotten to know each other, our associates better. But some of the services are business planning, financial resources. Next week, I think it is, you'll hear from Misty Bandy, who is another new client or another new counselor that we have. And she is, her specialty is in marketing. But cash flow management, a lot of people really do not know their finances. So it's important that you know what they are, understand what kind of cash on hand that you have. a lot of people think they're making, you know, $100,000 a month, but they're spending 99 of it for their expenses. So it's very important that you understand your revenue and your cash flow. We do.
Margie?
Yes.
This is Pam. I was going to ask you, is it Misty?
Brittany? Oh, Misty.
Yeah.
So she's going to be talking about marketing. I've been asked a couple of times, and I myself need it as well. Some of us are not frequent Facebook users, but do you think she could possibly do like a workshop, a virtual workshop on Facebook? Because I've had that request, and there's a lot of people out there.
Absolutely.
Okay, that would be great, and we would help market that. So
I'll tell you, that was one of the reasons that she was hired, because she said, do we get to do webinars? And I said, oh my Lord, get to do them. So yes, I'm sure she'd be happy to. Just let us know. Yeah.
That would be great. Okay. Thank you.
All right, so we can work with clients on their target marketing, and that's, you know, that's where Brittany can do a wonderful job and help you determine, you know, what your marketing strategy should be. We do have a dedicated export specialist in the state. If you are considering export, then we can certainly refer you to our expert. Licensings and regulatory. We can give you guidance on where you need to go. You know, there's all kinds of different licensing depending on the type of business that you're doing. And so we can give you ideas about what types of licensing you may need. If we don't know, we will do research to find out for you. Management counseling and training. You know, one of the key things I think that we're hearing is that it's really hard to find people to be managers, you know, so there's a lot of leadership training and things like that. And then also we have gone through extensive months of training for this COVID-19 recovery with the PPP, the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program, or the EIDL grant, or the Rebuild Virginia, or even the localities that have had had a need to get money distributed throughout their county. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so here's where we need to start. So starting a business, the topics that we're covering in this presentation is the business concept, organization, customer relations, and startup financials. So the business idea, you need to know the who, what, when, where, why, and how in most cases. So what is the problem? What's the problem that needs to be solved? The who is the company solving the problem? Who is the company solving the problem for? The how is the problem solved? Which value is created for the target group? And why does it matter? So the product portfolio. So what products and services will you be offering the customers? What will future value added product services look like? And can your products and services be adapted to meet the needs of different customers? Okay, so the revenue model. How will you make your money? What will your money, what will be your business revenue model? What will be the price ranges for your product services? It's very important to know what you're going to charge, because if you don't charge enough, you're not going to be able to meet your overhead and pay yourself a salary. And the goal to start a business is to pay yourself a salary. Will there be a discount policy in place? So it might be that it's a product that people might want to bring back because they don't like it or whatever. So are you going to have a policy? You really need to have a comprehensive policy manual, simply because you want to have answers, and you want to be consistent. If you have 5 or 6 different clients and they bring back a product and you decide you don't want to pay or return their funds for maybe 1 or 2 of them, but you do for the other 3, you better have a really good example or a really good reason why you're not treating everybody the same. And if you have a policy in place, and even if it's a friend that comes in and says, hey, I just don't like this, it's not working, and you really need to let them know what the policy is and let them see it so that you can cover yourself, because we live in a litigious society. Okay, and what is the plan process for future pricing? Are you just going to randomly price something, or are you going to be methodical about it? Is it going to be every year you're going to increase, or so you've got to have a plan in place.
Okay, here I'm going to take over for a little bit. Again, my name is Brittany Clark Clayman, and I am the marketing counselor at the Small Business Development Center at Southwest Virginia Community College. I have undergraduate from Emory and Henry in Abingdon, and a master's of mass communications from University of South Carolina. I'm certified in Google search ads and Google display ads, as well as Google My Business. I have an email marketing certification, social media marketing certification, and content marketing certification. I am also working on getting my Amazon Retail for Advertisers certification so that I can help those of you who would like to explore selling on Amazon, which you can do. I'm also working on learning all about the Shopify platform. I'm trying to get as familiar with all of these products and software things, because my goal is to assess how well and how comfortable you are with technology and help you with your website and your online selling platform so that you are comfortable enough to do it yourself. So you're not going to be alone. If you register with the SBDC and want some help with that, please feel free to do that. I will sit, whenever we can get back face to face, I can sit next to you and say, okay, now click this. Okay, now click this, so that you can get the most out of the programs, because you're investing your money in that. Also, the SBDC at Southwest Community College is a Grow with Google partner, so we have access to a lot of things. We'll be putting on some webinars soon, how to use YouTube for your business, how to use Google My Business, how to expand your search engine optimizations, what words you should include, how to, how to increase your digital footprint, why everybody should have at least one social media account for your business. Might not be Facebook, that might not be the place for you. So all of that is available to you for free, okay? So do not hesitate to ask. Also, Renee, I wanted to let you know, Facebook, to get certified for them, you have to have a testing site to partner with. So there's a possible thing right there. So your customer portfolio, and this is something that whether you are an established business or startup, this is something that is kind of like, it's organic. It's going to change over time. It might be that you start with some products and then your customers say, oh, well, I would love to have this. Or maybe you decide you need to expand and your demographic at your new location is a little bit different. So when you start with your customer portfolio, just know it's not set in stone. But who is your target customer or market? Is it somebody that is going to be buying? Are you going to be selling to consumers, to customers? Are you going to be selling your products or services to business? With, the bakery, will she maybe have some accounts for local businesses who say, okay, we want to have some breakfast items every, 2 Fridays or something like that. And then governments, there are also ways that you can we actually, the Southwest Virginia Community College has a PTech office that can help you with maybe making the government aware of your services. And then we want to talk about a customer persona. Okay, customer persona. It's a big old fancy word that just means who is your ideal customer. So think about, you might use your mom or some family members, friends, and think, is my customer someone who works all day, has 3 kids, likes to go out and hike in the weekends? You can get as specific as you need. These are just the demographics and resources and motivations. These are all just different things that we use to pinpoint. When you decide that you want to do a customer persona, you know, you can contact us and get, if you would like a template or something. It's kind of like an avatar, you know, on Facebook, you can make your little avatar person. This is kind of who is going to be the person you want to sell to. If you're selling to mothers who, you know, are working during the day and in the evenings, they're running around taking their kids places. That might mean that some of your advertising might be flyers up in after school programs, or maybe dance studios or karate places, things that, you know, mothers will be, you know, sitting around and waiting, things like that. So really try to think about who, and if you do 2 or 3, that usually helps. Who are the 2 or 3 ideal customers? If you could just create somebody, who would that be? This also feeds into your marketing. Because you want to know, is this somebody who is in the car line to pick up their kid from school and scrolling through Facebook or Instagram? You know, is this someone who doesn't have time to use social media? So those kind of things will inform on your marketing strategy later. And your market position, okay? First, before I get into this, I wanted to let you know another service that we provide at the SBDC is we have access to a service called IBIS World. And what IBIS World does is it gets industry reports so that you can see snapshots of what the industry is doing. Let's say that I wanted to start a brew tour. You know, I'm here in Abingdon, this is where I live, but say I wanted to make the most of all the craft breweries that are up in the Tazewell in Southwest Virginia area that we serve. I would pull a service, tourism and services report, and it would tell me, this is the trend over the past 3 years. It's going down, or, you know, obviously with COVID, and people having to stay indoors. But then it might say, but once those guidelines are lessened, the trend is predicted to increase by X amount % over the next 4 years. It can get really, really in depth, and it's really helpful for you to kind of have a realistic view of how that industry that you're choosing to go into is performing, so that you can have and set some realistic goals. It goes into everything. I don't think that there's an industry that they do not cover. So if you would like one of those reports, when you register with us, you can let that be known, and we can pull those reports for you. So with your market position, you want to, once you've decided, okay, I have something that is unique, right? It might be, let's say with Ms. Woods, you know, she wants to sell jewelry. Well, yes, there are other jewelry sellers, but her position is that she has affordable jewelry for women who want to look fashion forward and be on trend. So her competitive position would be her price. With the gentleman who wants to have the mobile with furniture refurbishing, his market position is his flexibility, the way that he is able to come to you. Okay, so what you want to think about is, what is that thing that makes you unique? You know, it might, like I said, it might be a service or a product that someone else is selling, but is it because you have amazing customer service and can provide, you know, one-on-one with a customer? So think about, what is your competitive position? How are you going to position your company? And then some ways that you can do that is look at the competitors. Look at those people who are offering the product or service similar to yours. What is it? Can you find a gap? Do you see somewhere where they are not meeting needs? And then that could be a way for you to position yourself. You know, I am able to do this on top of what other people are doing. So it can be something it might be with the cold taps, you know, theirs could be, hey, we are really community involved and we want to give back. That could be their market position. So there's different ways that you can look at things. And again, don't be afraid to think outside the box. How do you get into new markets? There's another thing. Is there a barrier, such as high capital or production cost, that kind of thing? Unfortunately, one of the barriers, I think, in the counties that we serve is sometimes the internet is not, you can't depend on it all the time. And so that might be a barrier that you have to kind of think about, well, if I am completely online, what is my crisis management for that? Marketing costs, special skills, that kind of thing. But I think, like I said before, is there an opportunity that your competitors are not taking advantage of? You know, is this where you can concentrate your business? It might be that there is you have an existing business and there's a need for your product or service in a different location. Could you possibly expand? Or maybe it's taking what you offer and putting it online so that more people can have access to your product. What you want to know before you develop your market strategy is who are your competitors, colleagues in the other market. Right now, there's a big theme with small businesses, which is community over competition. And I heard a wonderful woman speak about this last Friday. And it's not that you want to undercut somebody, but maybe it's a way that you could figure out how to market together or reinvest into the community together. But you want to know, you could have a direct competitor, and these are businesses who are selling exactly what you are selling, okay? And if you decide to sell multiple items, you might have different direct competitors for each item. Indirect would be businesses that are selling items that take business away from you, okay? But not exactly the same item. So for instance, a bowling alley and a movie theater are indirect competitors because they are entertainment and how people could spend their money. Marty, would you like me to keep going or you want to take over?
Yes, I'll take it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hey, sorry. So one of the things that I've had a really hard time with, especially starting up and then right now identifying other target markets, is the data for Southwest Virginia is not exactly complete. And there's not really a great place to pull from as far as where demographics go to. And what I mean by that is, you know, from a social media standpoint, I might be reaching 20% of the total population that's in the full circle market area.
Mm-hmm.
And we're having a really hard time reaching out to the other individuals, you know, other households and that sort of thing. Is that something that the AVIS database can help with, or do you have any other programs or data that we could pull from?
But definitely the IVIS could do that. And then there are other, there's also little gems and nuggets hidden within the U.S. Census that I've taken some classes on that we might be able to pull and find to give you some more insight as to things. I would say
no, that would be great and very helpful, because I actually did a census study about 8 months ago to see if I could, you know, find any additional information. But I would love to sit down and see if we can, you know, really dig in, because one of the things that's really hurting is, you know, people, especially, you know, where we're right in the center of downtown, more often than not, you hear, oh my gosh, I had no clue that this was even a restaurant.
Yes.
And, you know, part of that is a signage issue, but also part of it is an outreach issue. So I would really like some support around that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And there are different platforms again, too. I mean, it could be, you need maybe a podcast, Live from Main Street, have coffee with Blake and Bobby and talk about what's going on in the town and have, people come in and speak. That's another way that you can reach people. That's basically almost a free advertising kind of thing. So yeah, we can definitely work with some demographics and pulling some information and trying to figure out the best way to get a broader reach.
Okay, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Blake, and thank you, Brittany. I just typed in the chat box the registration link for the SBDC. So if you have not been working with us for the last year or so, we would really appreciate it if you would go in there and register. So the organization, how will you make your business successful? So company ownership and percentage, you need to think about who that, what that is. Key values of the owners. And I'm telling you, if you and a partner do not agree on most everything, then you probably need to reevaluate that because it will be problems down the road. And the type of boards. So, do you have an advisory board or a mentor board or supervising board or a governing board? If you are a corporation, you will need to have at least an advisory board. So I think it's always a good idea to have people to go back to and be able to ask those pertinent questions. And then selecting board members, again, be sure that you have the same values. They have the same values that you have, because if you are a board member, you have the opportunity to make decisions for that business. And so if you guys don't see eye to eye, then that could really be an issue. Okay, so the employees. What roles will the employees have within the company structure? So it's important that you document all these things, because that way everybody is clear as to who has what responsibility. So the areas of responsibility for the employees, make job descriptions. If it's a secretary, make sure that that person knows what that job is, what it entails. If it's a salesperson, make sure that they understand that you have goals for them, that you've got things that that you want done a certain way. You also need to make sure that your staff understands what the cost, what the staff cost benefit is. So not only do you have to think about the salaries, but the fringe benefits that come along with that. Partnerships. So what types of partnerships would you have? There's all kinds of possibilities. You could have business alliances, resources, purchasing, business associations, supply chains, criteria for evaluating and choosing suppliers, joint venture spinoff, or a joint venture for development or sales. I really apologize, guys. My voice is it's leaving me. And then collaborations on projects. We're going to get Brittany back on real quick. Okay, so the business process. Awareness of the company's place in the value chain by mapping the process the company uses. Document. I think it's always important to document everything. I know because we work for a state entity, you would be amazed at the amount of documentation that has to be done. But when the government comes and asks what our impact has been, we can pull it right up. So if you can find a good software that can help you document the pertinent information that you need, that goes a long way. Okay, decide which business processes to go in or out source. So, you may have things that you want to keep within, keep internally, but then may be some things that you don't have time to do. So you just say, okay, let's hire somebody to come in and do that. Let's contract with somebody. Streamline the company work by mapping processes and ranking the value of each one. It's important that you know what your priority is, and then create employee behaviors that stimulate ongoing improvement. So it's important who you hire, and it's important that they understand what is expected of them, and they also need to understand what they can expect of you. So regulations, and I know there's several of you that are existing businesses, so you know that there are tons of regulations out there. And so one of them is that you have to be registered. If you are a sole proprietor, you may just opt to get your federal EIN number and the basic stuff. But I always tell everybody they really need to go at least as a limited liability company, because you don't want to assume a lot of liability. And if you're a sole proprietor, you and your business are one and the same. So it's the easiest entity to set up, and it's the least expensive, but that's about as far as the advantage goes, because if you are sued and you're the sole proprietor, then they can go after your personal assets, your home, your car, whatever. And so I always encourage people to at least be a limited liability company. Permitting and licensing. It's important to know what permits are required, what kind of licensing is required, and that's always usually a one-on-one type thing. It's individual to each business, because every business is different. So that would be a discussion that you would need to have individually with your SBDC advisor. Employees, you want to know what is the requirement for employees. If you have employees, you're going to need to register with the Virginia Employment Commission. And you're probably going to have to start paying unemployment tax. Zoning, you need to be sure that whatever you're trying to do or wherever you're trying to establish your business, that it needs to be in a place that's zoned for business. The environment, you also need to understand what those environmental issues may be that affect your business, and are there certain registrations that you need to get registered for environmental purposes. And then taxes, that's usually always the biggie, because it's usually pretty expensive. So you need to have a good CPA, and understand if you don't understand your taxes and all of that, you need to make sure that you have a good CPA. Okay, so your registration. You know what your need to know what your structure is. How you register your business will vary based on the business structure you have chosen. Employment identification, you have to have the employer ID numbers, you have to have the state tax numbers, and so you need to be registered with the IRS and with the state taxation. And then doing business as, if you opt to not use your name, then you can sign up as a DBA. Okay. Brittany, if you will, I'm going to let you do this. I'm getting really hoarse.
Sure. Okay. Permits and licensing. So business permits. Your federal, state, local governments, if you are in a town or in a county, they might require special business permits for your business. Examples could be a seller's permit for reselling wholesale merchandise, or a health permit for food preparation. And then professional licenses. Obviously, certain businesses or services may be required by state or local agencies to have a professional/occupational license. Hairstylist, masseuse, real estate agent, operation of child care facilities. And again, at any point in time, I'm sure Pam, myself, Margie, anybody working with this challenge as well, if you have questions about that, do not hesitate to ask. That is why we are here. It's better to find out. Remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Zoning ordinance. Now, home-based or residential areas are much more restrictive, and you just need to check your local zoning restrictions for your property. It might be that they have some restrictions for displays or parking, vehicles, noise, traffic impact. Commercial business zones are typically used for retail sales and service operations. Some restrictions are usually parking availability and proximity to other types of businesses. Industrial, if your business involves manufacturing or bulk storage, you will most likely fall under industrial zoning requirements. And, obviously that has some restrictions with environmental factors if you have some kind of waste that you have to dispose of, that kind of thing. And then, oh, sorry, again, it's just not cooperating. So who to contact? Contact your local planning agency to find out if the location that you are planning to use for your business is zoned correctly. Employees. There are federal, state, and local workplace laws and standards for businesses with employees. The Federal Department of Labor has a website to help you understand the requirements. And there's all you can see the federal laws that are in the jurisdiction of the DOL. And so you have the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, the Family Medical Leave Act, Uniform Services Employment Reemployment Rights Act. There are actual signs that you will need to post. If you have a brick and mortar business with more than one employee, you will need to find out what these things are that you will need to post on the federal level and the state level and potentially the local level. In a recent webinar I attended, there are some places in California where small businesses have up to between 20 to 33 different types of signage they have to post for their employees. So make sure they're, these are websites where you can go and find that information and what you need to post and when. The OSHA regulations, you have to provide your employees with a safe and healthy workplace. There's an online small business handbook that will help you understand and meet the legal requirements and recommendations. That way that you can be in compliance status. Now, and Margie, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking we might be able to share the slides from this presentation to okay, great, to the challengers. That way you don't have to scramble to write down the websites and stuff that are mentioned. I can share these with Sandy and she can email them out to you, and that way it'll be in a PDF form and you'll have that information to pull up whenever you need to.
That's right. What I'll probably do is create a folder and just dump everything in, and then they have access to everything throughout the next 6 weeks.
Perfect. So environmental, if your business is going to have an impact on the local environment, you'll need to check with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and state environmental agencies, and some commonly required environmental permits involve Clean Air Act, risk to endangered species, and use of wetlands. And again, there is a website there at the bottom that you can pursue at your leisure. Taxes, again, your responsibilities for federal and state taxes depend on the structure and size of your business. Business income taxes are collected by most states and depend on the structure. So in some cases, an LLC company is taxed separately from the owner, who will also file an individual income tax return. But it's not always the case. The rules vary by state, and we highly recommend that you consult with an accountant or legal advisor to discuss what your options are. Income tax. Unless you have a business partnership, you'll have to file an annual income tax return with the IRS. Estimated tax is the tax you expect to owe the federal government based on projected earnings of your business. And you usually kind of do this in the form of regular payments throughout the year. Then there's self-employment tax. If you are a sole proprietor of your business, if you choose that and are advised that that's the best structure for your business, You'll need to pay self-employment tax, which covers your required contributions to Social Security and Medicare. If you are going to have employees working for you, then you're going to be responsible for employee tax with specific taxes and forms. And these can include withholding income tax, Social Security, Medicaid taxes, and federal unemployment tax. Certain manufacturing businesses and service providers need to pay excise tax. That would be operation of large vehicles. Again, we highly recommend that you speak with an accountant or a legal advisor. Also, we have a great, we mentioned before, Misty Bandy, who is the other counselor at our SBDC, and she is great with helping small businesses with their financials. Okay, customer relations. This is another thing that is really important, and how you get in front of your target market. So networking, you can do that by membership in professional organizations, attend, well, not so much right now, but networking events. Right now, we are all in a virtual networking event where we can make contacts and have future partnerships we can think about. Partner with other businesses that are marketing to the same customer, but they don't compete with you, like a DJ and a wedding photographer. Right now, there's a lot of you that could work together and partner as tourism destinations, places for tourists when they come to the region to visit and decide, oh, I like this, I want to come back. So there are a lot of you that have businesses that could do that. Utilize your social media platforms. And by social media, we're not just talking about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that kind of thing. We're talking about social media posting platforms. We're talking about podcasts. We're talking about mobile apps. We're talking about blogging. We're talking about email newsletters. All of that kind of stuff means social media, okay? Ask personal or professional networks to aid in making introductions. Maybe you know somebody who knows somebody. Word of mouth is great, okay? It's worked in the past and it's going to keep on working. Don't hesitate to ask someone, could you maybe help me out with this? We have found people are more than willing to help out small business owners, especially in our little rural area, to just get them where they need to go so that it can get up and thriving. Schedule time to touch base with people within your network. You know, you've got to maintain that relationship. It can't be just, oh, hi, you did this for me, bye. It's all about nurturing those relationships with your partners, with your customers, that kind of thing. So for marketing, when you're thinking about marketing includes advertising, okay? So think about your product, your service, your position in the customer persona that you have created. All right, and then you need to think about what is it that that person needs to hear to understand about your product, okay? Is it that let's say you have a shoe repair business, okay, but you want people to know more about your shoe repair business. Yes, you're going to post on Facebook. Yes, you're going to do this, but maybe you need to start having a podcast where you can go out and talk to maybe, let's say, the law enforcement members of your community and the wear and tear that's on their shoes, or go to a large industrial facility and talk about what kind of footwear needs they have. Then you go maybe to a place like the Classic Closet and talk about what are the new trends coming up in footwear. So there's all different ways that you could, a podcast about shoe repair doesn't sound like it'd be interesting, but we've just come up with a couple of episodes right there. And podcasts don't have to be that long. They can be 5 minutes. They can be half an hour. People like bite-sized pieces of information, so don't let that scare you. And right now it's digital, social media accounts with active posting, all of that stuff. A lot of this stuff is free to little cost. So You want to figure out how you can make the most, how you can get the biggest bang for your very little buck. And that's where knowing who you need to target comes in. Then there's traditional, obviously there's TV, there's radio, print ads, car decals. It could be something as simple as putting the name of your business on your car or your family members' cars while they're driving around. People sitting in traffic. Oh, I want to look that up. Direct mail pieces. Not so much right now with people still kind of germophobic and everything, but those are things that are going to come back, hopefully once this pandemic settles down. So those are other ways for marketing. There's search. Like I said before, search engine optimization. There is press releases, there are media events, there are things called geofencing, which is a really complicated way of targeting people who only live in certain areas. There's pay-per-click, which is advertising options. You could maybe write some articles or, how-to guides. You could might create like a little ebook that you could post online for people to download about your services. And then of course, in person, which we can't really do right now, but you can change those, have webinars. Say, maybe someone wants to do a focus group about what kind of coffee choices do people in this area want. Advertise that you're looking for information. People love to be an expert and have their opinion asked. So make the most of that kind of thing. Okay, sales and services. This is huge. People want to buy, they don't want to buy the what, they want to buy the why, okay? But if they're gonna buy your why, then you've got to give them an experience that's out of this world. And if you are going to have a store with salesmen and employees, you've got to have the best, right? So if you have a brick and mortar business, are you going to have dedicated salespeople? You maybe not at the beginning of your startup, but you might say, my next year goal is to have 2 more employees. You'll need to know how you're going to train those people. You're going to need to have a standardized sales system. And you're going to need to think about how are you going to get leads. Usually this is something that you can get with a customer management system, some software. How are you going to keep track of sales? What is your point of sales software going to be? How are you going to capture customer data? I mean, in the past, you might remember there were some stores who had sign up or leave your name and address if you'd like a newsletter. Nowadays that stuff is digital, but it's still the same for me. Is you want to get their information so that if you have a sale, you can let them know. Or they really liked this top and you've got more stuff coming in similar, you want to let them know. And then of course, what hours and days of operation will your business be? This is where it comes in really important for you to make sure that your business is on Google, because it will show up on a map in search results, okay? And you'll be able to update your hours and days of operation. And then they will have places for people to leave reviews. You'll have to understand a lot of people don't trust places that don't have at least 1 or 2 reviews. It's just the way human psychology is. So if you set up a profile on Google My Business, which is free, maybe have some people, friends, or customers you've already had leave some reviews to help boost your authority online. Now, e-commerce, you can start off selling with a brick and mortar business and then want to pivot and add online selling. You can start off online and say, I want to see how this goes, and then turn it into maybe a brick and mortar business, or you can be completely online. Again, I think there is a way that you can Google your business so that if someone is searching for, let's say, seeds in the area, that your service, your company will show up, even though there's not a physical location for that. It will still show up when they are searching in that area. So that is something that you need to know is an option. And Probably it'll be much easier if you're going online, because a lot of the online selling platforms have these metrics already built in. So the tools for you to measure how many people are coming to your site, how many of those visits are actually leading to sales, etc. And again, they'll have that information, software built in so that you can get customer information. You can make it so that they have to leave you an email address before they finish their checkout process. And then you need to understand decide if you're going to have telephone sales or live online sales support. People want customer service. If you are brick and mortar or e-commerce, they want it through social media a lot, and they want you to respond a lot. So maybe if you're thinking about creating a website that has a product or a service to sell, think about employing a live chat option, which they can also have send to your mobile so that you can always respond fast. But again, customer service, when you're creating a marketing plan strategy for your business, don't forget this. Don't forget your strategy, okay? People want a human experience, even though they want the convenience of online, but they want a human experience. So you want to make sure that you are responding in an appropriate time frame. You'll need to set that up, decide which would be the best way, have one person in charge of responding on social media or on through email or a live chat bot on your website. You'll need to have ways that people can leave feedback for you. You know, maybe someone came into your brick and mortar store and bought something and they were very enthusiastic about it, and you happen to get their email. Send them a little note saying, hey, if you leave a review for me, next time you come, I can get you, here's 15% off your next visit. You know, don't be afraid to go out there and ask. And then say, hey, could you tell one more friend? So think about ways that people are going to be able to evaluate your amazing service and let other people know. You'll need to make people aware of what your policies are for refunds and returns. Shipping, if you're going to be shipping online, how you're going to process and handle customer complaints, and procedures to make sure that employees are following all of these guidelines. You know, you might not be able to be there 24/7, so you want to make sure that your employees have bought in and understand the customer service aspect of your business. All right, so now it's the fun, exciting stuff, financials. And I say that as an English major who doesn't really like math. But the key to starting a successful business is preparation. Now, before your business even opens the door, you're going to have bills to pay. And so having a true view of your startup and operating expenses is going to help you be more successful and allow your business to grow. And you've got already some great resources amongst you all with those who already have existing businesses. They can kind of, you know, they might be able to share their startup stories so that, you know, they can give you kind of a view of what they went through and maybe what some obstacles they had to face are. So there's a great resources right there for you to get advice and guidance. So your startup cost. One-time expenses. If you're going to have a physical office location or a retail storefront, and then the basic required equipment, including computers, you're going to need an IT infrastructure, software, office supplies, industry-specific equipment required to perform the services or to produce the product, licensing and permit costs, and you're going to need your startup inventory. And then you're going to have ongoing business costs, the lease for your space or storefront, utilities, insurance premiums, loan payments, website hosting fees, payroll expenses, you know, your federal, state, and local taxes, your packaging, shipping, and handling fees for your product, professional fees, accountant, attorney, consultant, if you're going to take business trips, your advertising and marketing strategies are an ongoing thing, and any other services you might have outsourced to other companies, like a security service or housekeeping or maybe a landscaping if you have a brick and mortar business, that kind of thing. Revenue and growth projections. So being able to accurately estimate your business's expected profit is really an essential part of judging whether your business is going to survive this initial startup period. So you've got to have this information in order to get funding, in order to decide how you're going to price your goods and services and how you're going to pay your employees. So what you need to consider when you project your revenue and growth is, what is the cost of your product or your service, okay? So you have cost of goods sold, which is the direct cost of producing the product. And so let's say you're gonna make sweatshirts, all right? So the cost of that sweatshirt, it would be how much it costs to make that sweatshirt. So when calculating, you're gonna have the cost of the fleece material to make the sweatshirt, the thread, the machine for the sewing machines, and then the labor that's used to sew, and maybe the pattern is a cost as well, the scissors, the pins, if you're making these by hand, all of that needs to be calculated into your cost of goods sold, okay? And then it also needs to include, it does not include indirect expenses. So the cost of getting that sweatshirt out to people, or employing the people to sell your sweatshirt, okay? So that's the cost of producing your product or service. And then it's additional expenses to deliver the goods to the customer. Packaging, especially if you're online, packaging is your first impression, okay? So you need to make it experience for your customer. I think, a lot of you might be aware of this huge unboxing trend that is going on social media. Make your product, and it doesn't necessarily have to be online. If I go and I buy, let's say I buy a pie from the bakery, and it's, in a gorgeous box with a, maybe it's tied with a twine ribbon, and there's a label, I want something that's nice, that I'm gonna be excited about opening it when I get home, and same if you're selling jewelry or clothing, don't just put it in a plastic bag. It might cost more, but that tissue paper and the special label, all of those things that you include help create an experience that somebody's going to want to come back and have. So packaging is very, very important. Shipping. If you're shipping within a certain area, if you're doing a flat rate, all of that is expenses. The weight of your product, you're going to have to include. And then personnel. What is it going to take? Are you going to have to hire a truck driver to deliver, say the refurbishing the furniture business gets big, and he's got to hire another truck driver to help deliver to all the places he's getting to. So you'll need to kind of think about that. It might be that your projections are different as the years go. In that first year, you might need X, Y, and Z, but the next year, it might be that you think about taking on an additional employee, that kind of thing. So what additional overhead expenses do you have? So overhead is the ongoing business expenses that are not directly part of the production of the product, okay? So these are things that are incurred as support to the business, but not related to the production of a specific product. So maybe it could be the power to the business, your utilities for powering the sewing machine that is going to produce the sweatshirt, and the heat because you're working in the wintertime, and the air in the summertime. It might be the internet, so that you're able to download a pattern or something like that. So it might not be directly related to that product, but those are additional overhead expenses that you might have. And then estimate your profits. So your net income or net earnings, it is calculated as sales minus the cost of goods sold, okay? Selling, so you've got sales minus the cost of goods sold, the selling expenses, and the general and administrative expenses, your operating expenses, depreciation. So if you buy a big industrial sewing machine to make those sweatshirts, maybe you have to, and an accountant could help you figure out what the depreciation for that piece of equipment is. And then you have interest and taxes and other expenses. So if a product is going to get you let's say that you bake a huge wedding cake, all right, and that is going to get you a lot of money, but it also costs a lot of money to produce, then you're going to have just a little bit of profit left over to keep up and maintain your day-to-day operations and the future growth. So you've got to understand the difference between revenue and profit, okay? Revenue, that is the total amount earned by a company or business without subtracting the cost of goods sold or the expensive services provided within a particular time frame, okay? So this is how much you earn complete, all right? Profit, it refers to the amount that is remaining after you take out all those expenses and overhead in a specific period. So let's say you're selling sweatshirts and you make, $10,000 in 1 month. That's your revenue.
Hey, Brittany.
Yes.
Margie's trying to get your attention.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't see.
We've got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we need to see if they have any questions after this slide.
Sure.
And we'll move forward from that.
All right, I'll just go ahead. I don't know my thing is. I'm sorry, at my screen, I couldn't see anybody.
That's okay.
So all of this stuff, again, will be sent to you, the slides. So does anybody have any questions right now?
Y'all didn't know you're getting a test tonight, did you?
Well, one of the things that the Small Business Development Center does really well is to help with making your projections or your predictions for your revenue. So I think that if you have any problem with developing what they call a financial pro forma, then let us know, because we're more than willing to work with you individually, one-on-one. And again, once you're registered into our system, all of our services are free and confidential. But if you have any questions, now is a great time to ask. The financial part, we could talk all night on that. And the marketing. I mean, there's just so much that's available now that wasn't years ago. And so we want you to know that we have a lot of different options in a lot of different areas. And if we can help you in those areas, we're more than happy to do that. You sure you don't have any questions?
Margie, this is Pam. I would like to throw something out there so they will know. One of the things that your office does, you are very good at helping people develop a business plan that want to apply for the CETA seed capital, which is the Virginia Coalfield Economic Development Authority. It's a $10,000 grant, matching grant, and all of the applicants have to go through the Small Business Development Center, which is Margie's office, and you have to have the support of the Tazewell County IDA. We have several participants on the Zoom meeting tonight that have received that funding, so I think it's a great resource, a great financial investment into small businesses, so that's another thing that you all can assist with.
Thank you.
And Margie, you might want to just mention too about the state's rebuild fund. I understand that in the next 2 weeks, they're going to make an announcement of enhancing that even more.
Right.
Of course, that would only apply for the existing businesses that are competing, but that could be something to help.
I have a question about that.
Okay.
So, and I know that they were looking at if you were a person who got like EIDL or PPP, that you would not qualify for the Rebuild Virginia grant.
Well, that was what the way it was originally, Blake, but they have expanded their guidelines. And if you have received either of those or the is that it? PUA? Anyway, the pandemic unemployment.
Yeah.
You can still qualify now because they have expanded those guidelines.
Yeah,
But
and I think
there's 8 categories that you were eligible for. Is there something specific?
no, I think it because it wasn't very clear out there. No, I obviously had some back knowledge on that, but I think there's a lot of small businesses that are still extremely confused because of the original guidelines. So I felt like it would be helpful to share that.
I think that there's a lot of people that are confused, and it's not just it's not just us. It's the people that are actually running the program.
Yeah.
Because they're constantly changing amounts and changing dates, and so it's confusing.
But as an existing business, if you can show proof that you were negatively impacted by COVID, that could be a good grant source for you.
Yes.
That could help maybe recoup some of your losses and your plans. I don't know, Amanda, how long you have been in business and if that's something you have looked at all. But of course, Margie and her team can help you. Again, they're going to make some changes in about 2 weeks. It'll be announced, and it will be dramatically more money available. But if it's something you're interested in, you need to start planning now for the application.
And let me just say that Margie mentioned the state network. All of us, we have a huge email thread, and we throw questions out there about rebuild and PPP and all of that. So if we don't have the answer, we can find somebody who can, because chances are within that network, somebody responds with, have you contacted this person? Or I've had that happen with my client. So you're not just getting our advice and guidance, but you also have access to, again, everybody, all of the SBDCs across the state and at the state level to help figure out. So if you are afraid something might be too complicated or you're not sure, don't, like I said, I keep saying, do not hesitate. We're free, we're confidential, we're right in your backyard. We can be on your screen at any time. So make use of us.
I think the key is that we're wanting to show is there's resources out there for you. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be talking about financing and you'll get to hear from some financing providers what they're looking at. But I just wanted you to go ahead and start planning now and looking. It's been, for our agency, it's been very, I guess, concerning and shocking at how many businesses, when the PPP and the EIDL came out, were unprepared, did not have their taxes, did not have their books in line that could respond quickly to these grant opportunities. And so it's better to be prepared than to grumble later. But okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention that too.
That's a good resource.
Anybody have any other questions? Oh, sorry. I'm trying to help you.
Good. Any more questions? Again, I do apologize for my voice. It's just gone.
As long as you don't have the vid, I think we're fine.
And again, we will be sharing the slides with you. And Brittany, can I take over the screen?
Yes.
With everyone. Another thing I wanted to mention when we do that folder link, again, there will be samples of business plans, even sample credit reports, because one of the sessions might be in 2 weeks. We'll talk about how to review a credit report. These are things that lenders look at when they're reviewing your application. So we want you to be prepared for that. So get that. Also, I mentioned earlier, don't forget on session 6 is when you pitch your business ideas to the judges. What I'm going to do is send you a ton of links to past, like over the last several years, 3 or 4 years of other business challenges that I've been involved in, that I've recorded the business pitches that I highly recommend that you watch. They didn't have that opportunity to see what others did and to judge what was good and what's bad. That you can see and hopefully help you can be practicing on that. One other thing too, today we had a refocus and rebuild webinar session. It was session 11. But the reason I bring this up, the gentleman that led this session owns a trucking company in a number of different locations. He's based out of Florida right now, but he also has a group of folks that are working out of St. Paul. But he shared some great resources and some software and apps that he uses, because he kept saying, automate your business to make it easy for you as the manager to know if the banker or anybody calls and says, you know, what's going on, how's your books and so forth, that you can keep a handle on that. The key is keeping a handle on your cash flow. So I want to share that with you. If you've got about 45 minutes to watch this guy and what he says and how he started his business and has grown it, I think it would be valuable to you. And one of the major things that I say, I will have to stress, don't wait until the night before the business plans are due to start working on it. Remember, this is a critical part of the scoring, and you want to be prepared. And you've got 2 people right there, Margie and Brittany, that can help you. But they can't work miracles if you call the night before and say, I need help. Let's all be professionals. And but you need to be ready for that. And your business plans are due on November the 24th, just so that you can start preparing. And I want to just remind, don't forget to send your signed guidelines initialized if you haven't done it already. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anybody have any questions? You're not scared up yet, or not, are you?
Sandy, I have a comment to make about, well, something to add on to what you were saying about people didn't have their finances together. We experienced some of that just recently. The Tazewell County IDA rolled out a grant for businesses that had been impacted by COVID, and we asked for documentation from them showing how their business has been affected, and they had a very hard time in a limited time to put that together, but some of them just couldn't come up with it, and they missed the opportunity there because they couldn't pull their finances together. So that's a good point you made about the grants and everything that are out there.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to our speaker today, as automated, and so you have everything at your fingertips. And honestly, as a business owner, you need to know that. It's your business, it's your investment. You want to keep a handle on it. So just something to think about. Anything else?
Yeah, Sandy, one other thing, I would like to tell the participants in the challenge that you have a lot of good things on your Facebook as far as the webinars, just tips that will help businesses. Margie, Small Business Development Center, they have a lot on theirs as well. I try to share some of that stuff, but I don't get to everything. So I would advise them to at least start following you guys on Facebook and maybe just pick up some of the tips you all can have to offer them, because it's very informative.
Yeah, and a lot of times I share that on the Tazewell Challenge Facebook page too, that you have links. There's so much out there. I was telling somebody just earlier today, since the first of the year, I've presented over and partnered with 69 webinars online. So there's a lot of content that's great, because again, you don't have to start from scratch like others. The content's out there. So you'll be hearing from me, and it's 7:59, and I am sick of Zoom from today because my first meeting started at 7 a.m. this morning. My butt is numb, and I've had enough. So are you all? had enough. Did we scare anybody off?
Put my
I hope
email
not.
contact in the chat. So if anybody wants to email about the presentation we did or say, hey, can you help me with some marketing stuff? It's in there. So do not hesitate.
And over the next few weeks, we do have some really interesting and professionals, impressive lineup for you. So again, look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 6 p.m. And what I like is I don't have to get in the car and drive 2 hours. So but thanks, everybody, and I look forward to working with you over the next 5 weeks. Have a good one.
Thank you, lady.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.